Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
With the big, bold flavour of HP sauce, making breakfast legendary.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Them very good friends of mine. Can I do that?
Yeah.
It's a quote from a song. It's a sort of calypso about cricket.
We're all very laid back here.
It goes with Ramadan and Valentine. Oh, sorry.
We're not that laid back.
Okay, so you can text the show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Oh, at. I hate at.
We've had an email
Why
already.
do you hate at?
Because that's all you hear now, isn't it? At this and at that.
Yeah, people are at it, aren't they?
Well, see, when people were at it in the old days.
We've had an email entitled "A Classic Gag That I'm Sure Frank Would Be Proud Of." I think that might be overstating it, but let's read.
Who's
read on. It's from a chap called James. Hi guys, I would like to tell you about a joke I made at
James
work.
Corden talking about how well his chat show's gone in the United
Taking some
States.
time from his busy schedule.
He's doing awfully well now.
What about if James Corden did a joke? I mean, I've met him 2 or 3 times. If he did a joke in America that he was so pleased with, he emailed me about it. Someone he hardly knew.
Not directly, through the radio
Yeah,
show.
but you know when you're bursting with a joke you've done, and you've just got to tell people even you vaguely know.
Well, I think a similar thing has happened, but not to James Corden, to another James. I'd like to tell you about a joke I made at work that had my whole department in stitches. I've been a big fan of the spontaneous puns on your show, and think you would be particularly proud of this one.
I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm very excited. Such a build-up he's given.
Not even I'm a big fan of the spontaneous.
He's also gone for so, comma. So, a girl was telling us about how her dad plays badminton with other dads, to which I commented, "What, you mean dadminton?" Cue raucous laughter. A particularly proud moment of mine for a relatively unfunny person. Keep up the good work. I think that's good. He's done
That's what that deserves. Badminton is fine. Very fine.
Great.
Can I be honest? I find that genuinely upsetting. Genuinely.
I love badminton.
Me too.
I think it's I think I'm pleased with that. Well done, James.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the Americans made of it. I'm sorry, I thought it was James Corden.
Over the pond, that sort of thing Frank would say, Al.
I mean, when he says at work, he means on the show.
Oh, yeah.
He gave it away by saying that Johnny Depp didn't seem to really get it.
Yeah.
No, that is a funny joke.
You could get a job as a writer, the Dadminton author.
You think?
Yeah. Not here, he couldn't. So I don't need writers. You get it? Got it? Okay, so, what about this? I come back, I see James's Dadminton joke, and I'm gonna raise it.
Okay.
So we're gonna play. I was gonna say.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Instead of poker, we're playing Joker. Oh, didn't quite work, did it? It works
Didn't
too
quite
well.
work.
It works too well, is what it works.
Quite work.
Anyway, God, she's critical this morning.
Am I? I'm sorry.
Where's your puns?
I don't have any.
Puns.
Because it's not Tudor Britain.
Tudor Britain. So, what happened to her? See, once she stopped working with Philip Schofield. So anyway, here's my joke. I was on a tour of a stately home last weekend, and this man was, as people do when they tell you about stately homes, the man giving us the tour was saying, and blah blah lived here, and Winston Churchill stayed here once, and I said, and Henry the First and Henry the Second, it was their home, wasn't it? And he looked at me. Everyone looked at me, and I pointed, and in the gloom of a cupboard there were 2 Henrys. You know those vacuum cleaners? Sort of, you know how they're always they are epitomise optimism, the Henry...
smiley little...
Was there Mrs. Henry? Oh, I love the Mrs. Henry.
And there they were, Henry the First and Henry the Second, in the midst of the tour.
Now, that's my kind of material, Frank.
He took it all right, the bloke. I think he felt I'd slightly... not joined in with the spirit of the tour, but it went all right.
The most important thing, did you get a laugh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a laugh from people who I knew who were on the tour with me, which I was very pleased with. And the 2 Henrys, obviously, they were grinning like fools, as they always are. They were huddled together in the shades, like sort of fundamentalist optimists having to hide underground. But I love that. Have you ever seen one in a skip? It's one of the saddest things you could ever see.
Don't think I could.
Henry in a skip. No. So reminiscent of my career.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
I fall to pieces. Ooh.
Is this a cover of the song we've just
No,
played?
that's Patsy Cline's song called I Fall to Pieces, which is
silly
about, you know, one of those songs about when you split up with someone and then later you see them again and, you know, inside you just fall to pieces. Yeah, it's about that.
Yeah.
Google it. So, you know, you can get clip-on faces for Henrys.
No.
Ever seen one of those?
No.
Oh, I love the sound of those.
Yeah, you know that the standard Henry face, you can get, there's a thing that,
It's one of your
it's 3D. I'm not making it up. It's a 3D clip on, and you can slightly change their feaches. I'm not making this up.
I'm not having it. I feel like
This
you're
is
making
so
it
going to
up.
end in a strange lie. Is it one of
No,
the strange
it's
lies?
not. Look, I'm happy to. I'll put money on it. I don't think actually that Absolute are licensed for gambling. There's a sign over the door, licensed for singing and dancing, and the selling of victuals.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think it's licensed for gambling, and probably quite rightly so. But yes, I'm not making it up. It's like that, you know, when you see that footballer face protection, you know, you get the odd footballer playing in a mask.
Broken cheekbone.
Broken cheekbone, a mask that does absolutely nothing to help you in a high contact sport like football that looks a bit groovy. They're like those nose.
Groovy.
Do you remember the nose plasters that
Robbie Fowler. He was a fan of those.
They did nothing, did they?
No.
No.
And what about the Vic repository on the chest?
beg your pardon?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of footballers used to put Vic on their
Oh, is
chest
that
in a big
right?
thick lump, and the idea is the vape has kept them breathing better through the
Yeah.
game. All mistakes that footballers have made, but you know, not the worst ones.
And all advertisers that we'll be playing later in the show, probably. That could be
Really?
awkward. No.
Do you think the people who make those nose plasters are still going? They must have gone to the wall, hadn't they? Their doors are closed, so they could have kept it open probably with one of those plasters.
Yeah.
I mean, what else could you use them for?
Do you know what? Right now, they're sitting there thinking, I can't believe the airtime we're getting on Frank Skinner's show.
Yeah, if only this had happened when we were still open.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have done well. I do it if I watch the election coverage through the night. I put one on each eyelid
Oh,
of
yeah.
those plasters.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good. And then later, when I got really tired, I put Vic in my eyes.
Oh, yeah. That
And
helps.
that also. Can I say, if there's anyone listening, don't put Vic in your eyes.
No.
You know, remember the old song? Don't put Vic in your eyes, my darling, or you'll cry like Gundy stuff.
Patsy Cline.
Yeah. So, I'll tell you what else I heard. Do you remember I was talking I'd been to Sudeley Castle?
Yeah.
Yes,
The
was
whole-
this Catherine Parr's
Yes. Exactly. Yes.
manor?
He's always on a day out, isn't he? If he's not working,
I
he's on
love-
a day out, stimulating
Yeah.
that brain.
Yeah, but I learnt something from him last time.
Oh.
That's nice. isn't it?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Catherine Parr. That was quite loud. That was louder than it should have been. That.
Frank, that is quite bizarre, making Catherine Parr a friend of the show.
Well, see,
I mean, really?
I know, and I think it's a big thing for me because she is like a arch Protestant.
It feels like a bit of a one-way
Live and let-
street,
live
the
and let live.
friendship.
That's what I've arrived. Well, I don't know. I learnt a lot about her at Sudeley, and I spoke. What a great day out it was. And because you can take the kids, you can have a bit of history, and you can take the kids.
Yeah. Gift shop.
Yeah, it's a gift shop.
He'd
And
be very good at those tourist boards, wouldn't he?
it'll come.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It will come. It will come. I've got to stop singing. What's happened to me?
Doing a lot already today.
Anyone who can recognise what this song is from and text in, I'll be very impressed. It will come, it will come, it will surely come.
The Lion King.
No.
Really? He sings that a lot, though.
What?
That.
I know, but what's it from?
Oh, I don't know. You're the one that sings it.
No, exactly. You don't know. Let's see if any of our listeners know. It will come, it will surely come.
That's a strange thing to be triumphant about. You don't know.
Really, Todd.
Anyway, they sent me...
Little Shop of Horrors.
they sent me a bit of a goodie bag, the people from Soodley.
Did they?
And
What'd you get?
a quill. They sent me a sort of a
Handy?
biro quill. It was handy. I found I sneeze quite a lot when I'm writing with it.
You've got an excess.
I might have to take an inch and a half off the end.
Yeah.
It's just catching me under the nostrils.
I'd like it if that was your shtick. Instead of the Sharpie, you used the quill to sign autographs.
Sharpie? What about the Peerless
I dropped.
125?
Hold it! Newsflash! I dropped the Peerless 125 this week.
Oh, no.
You did not.
You know, someone sent me an expensive pen.
I think
Yes.
you could go up a category. I think you could say it's an extremely expensive
It is
pen.
extremely, and it's a very lovely thing to write with. I dropped it, and the nib.
Is it okay?
I can't, honestly, just talking about it now, it's making my chest go tight.
Get him Visvix.
The nib was slightly pushed to the right.
Oh, no.
So when I wrote with it, it was writing slightly ahead of. It was writing stuff I hadn't even thought of yet.
That's how they invented italics.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they dropped the pen.
I think I've.
It was an
rounded
election predictor pen.
Oh, but I tell you, it made me feel. When I dropped it, it was a horrible.
Did you just bend
thing.
it back?
Yeah, I had to be strong with it.
Surprisingly, no one seems to have an answer to it will come, it will come, it will surely come.
Yeah, but you know what thing about that answer? It will come, it will come, it will shoot. Yeah, so, oh dear, don't ever drop anything that's really expensive.
It's a good rule.
Yeah, I remember telling Kate Middleton that years ago. She stopped with it.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
You said it will come, and it has come.
So the answer is?
Alan?
King's leather hat.
King's what hat?
King's
someone's,
lead hat.
someone's got it wrong. Is it from Brian Eno's
King's leather hat. King's leather hat is what I wear at Christmas.
And then he has put in brackets, see what I did there, Frank, from MASH.
Brilliant! And I
So,
walked straight into it.
Well, and me too, actually. Very good. Very good. So that was from MASH. It's
But
not
he
the
did
right
get
answer.
the
No,
right
the
answer.
actual answer is King's lead hat.
We've
Yes.
had about 10 of the right answer.
Oh, well,
including
everybody, well done.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you, 310.
Dave the Milkman.
Can you not say thank you, Cameron? On the show? I tell you what makes me really happy about that is that we have the sort of people listening to this show who know the King's Lead Hat by Brian Eno.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the King's Lead Hat is a mother to desire. It will come, it will come, it will surely come. Okay,
Oh, I quite like that.
listen to it.
And the good thing is we go out an hour later on the Decade Station.
So we'll get that all over again.
We'll
Yeah.
receive a handful of texts again.
And do you know,
at least, I should
I
think.
think our listeners are very NGN.
NGN.
No Google necessary.
Oh,
No, I don't think you can Google. I hope no one Googled it will come, it will come, it will surely come.
Bang.
Not breakfast time. Anyway, so I got this goodie. No, I need to discuss this with you. The people from I was very excited about the Soodley parcel
Oh, yeah.
because there was there was a book about Soodley Castle and a picture of Brock the Badger.
Now that you're back onto Soodley Castle, can I just interject with another text that we've
can
received?
interject.
I know you're a fan of the listenership and them liking King's Lead Hat, but listen to this for a text 061. Listening to Frank Skinner, my maiden name is Catherine Parr.
Absolutely marvellous. Who's that from?
Catherine Parr.
I'm joking. You mean Catherine Parr?
and
friend of the show.
And she adds, loving the banter on our way to Daddington. I'm assuming that she's going to badminton.
But she said Daddington.
Yeah, she's just got it.
Maybe she's doing a little
Is that a place?
play on it.
No, maybe
Is it a
maybe
real
there's
place?
a place. Maybe there's a
Oh,
place
might be.
called.
It's got a lowercase d anyway.
But has Dad got a lowercase d or a?
On this,
It's got a lowercase
on
d,
this,
yeah.
No, but normally if you call someone your dad,
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
I thought that was uppercase.
Well, if I said
I love
Dad-
this discussion.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, capitals.
Can I just
Capital
say-
radio. Capital radio. That's what this is. isn't. If you just tune in, it isn't Capital Radio. Otherwise,
you're-
I'll be saying, "No, it's time for Top Loader."
Can I
Anyway.
just say, with regards to King's Lead Hat, commiserations to those who thought it was Sale of the Century theme music and the old Fruit Pastels advert song.
Oh.
Both incorrect.
Sale of the Century. Okay, so, yeah, thanks for joining in. That's what I
Meanwhile,
say.
over in
We've
Subley...
never really had a quiz. Have we ever had a quiz before, ever?
No, we can't do quizzes. We can't do things like that.
I think we've had, I think we gave some tickets away for
It
the
went
fall.
so wrong. We tried to give some football tickets away and it was a disaster.
We're doing it.
I
Let's
think it was
face it.
BC before Cockerell.
You got to be a pro to do that kind of thing. Anyway, one of the things that they sent me, and I was thrilled, and it's in pride of place in my bedroom, but it was a piece of Sudeley Castle, basically,
What do you mean?
like a piece of stone from the castle. Now, is that all right? Well, a piece of
They
a
had
piece
an
of ruin.
extension done.
They sent me
and
some
they just had
ruin.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Valuable artefact.
Well, it's got, and it's. I don't think it's from the shop because it's got moss on it and bird excrement.
Oh.
So it's like proper.
Oh, they've just done that
Just
to make
gone
it
out
look
and
old.
Found it.
No, what like Lovejoy used to.
Just
Remember
like
when
that.
Lovejoy used to put woodworm
Exactly
in
like
with
that.
with a little drill. God,
Oh,
was
did
a-
he?
Yeah.
Would he
was a-
soak things in with tea
he was a
bags?
character. Somebody tell me, can
was
this
a
be true?
character.
Can this possibly be
In a
true?
A real person, Frank.
No, hold it.
You've over-invested in Lovejoy.
No, but
He wasn't in your life ever.
someone. I met Ian McShane. He was very nice.
He's your
bloke.
friend
Very
who's
good in
passed
Deadwood.
away.
But pardon?
He was a character.
Who? Lovejoy.
Yeah.
I know that, but Ian McShane wasn't. Well, actually, Ian McShane was a bit of a character.
Yeah.
But a makeup woman told me that she did Ian McShane's makeup, and he handed her a piece of paper with a drawing of his face on, with numbered areas where she was to use that number of foundation, like a painting by numbers.
Brilliant.
Can I just say I find nothing worrying about that story at all.
No,
I
not
think
at all.
that's everyone should follow that lead.
Perhaps he was trying to make himself look older so he could sell himself in auction. Anyway, is it all right, the wall thing?
Alan?
I'm not sure. I don't like being the judge and jury on this, but I feel a bit... Yeah, I have misgivings. And I have more misgivings that you're keeping it... Where
Well,
is it in your house?
it was from Miss Givens, who is the curator there. Very nice little spinster woman.
If you are going to keep it, I think you should move it out into the garden and have it as part of a rockery.
Well, no, that doesn't seem right to me. Get thee to a rockery? Is that what I'm supposed to say
It's
to it?
natural terrain, isn't
Are
it?
you sure it's real?
Oh, yes, you can tell just by it. It's the same colour as Sudeley Castle.
The reason I ask is, are you
Scientific
sure
test.
it wasn't just a bit of abuse? Was it just in a rock in an envelope that came through your letterbox?
No, it came through the window. Came through the window, election night. Just missed my poster in the window. No, it's the real thing. I think it looks old. I mean, it's got the Nike logo cut into the moss.
Perfect.
No, I'm excited to have it, and it's got a magical feel to it because it's so close to par, of course. But I can always send it back if they need it.
Yeah.
That's the way to look at it.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Yeah, so I've got quite a collection now. I've got a bit of Sudeley, I've got a bit of the Berlin Wall,
Have you?
which was
nice.
given to me by an East German lady.
I didn't like the way you said lady.
I don't think anyone did.
I just sensed backstory. I don't like that.
Not really.
You've got a little bit of strange ways.
No, I haven't got any. I've got some strange ways, but I've got a bit of the roof of the church at Lourdes. Hello,
No,
You seem to have
and I've
building
got
up quite a collection.
I've got some of the fence from Elvis's ranch.
Are you
Well, how
trying
did you
to...
get that?
Are you going to build, like,
I'm going to build a composite house.
a memorabilia house?
Exactly. That would be brilliant. What a place to live. All my interests put into one little shack. Yeah. Love shack, I
Yeah.
could call it, couldn't I?
Yeah.
What about that?
Why not?
Can you hear me Can you actually hear me scratching on air?
Yes.
I hate it when that happens. So yeah, I love getting the goodie bag, but if anyone has a fit of guilt and they want a bit of Sudeley Castle back, if they need, I mean, you know, the stone that the builders rejected became the cornerstone. Just remember that. Also,
They know
part
they
of a
sent it
parable
to
or
you, though. What's that?
I stayed at a hotel this week, and I had the usual. I went down to breakfast. Have you ever been down to breakfast in a hotel when there's no one else there?
Yeah.
It's a weird.
Can we establish, this is one of my favourite things about Frank, is that he doesn't have room service. Why, Frank? Because he likes people.
I like to look. I like to look at who's at the hotel.
Yeah.
I love watching people at hotel breakfast because that people when they walk into a hotel breakfast room are so awkward often.
Yes.
You can see
Yeah.
even
What is
the
that
ones who
awkwardness?
aren't awkward are being deliberately not awkward. They're thinking about it. People really think about what they look like and how they're moving and stuff
Yeah.
when they walk into a.
Do you all sense that there's a real feeling of superiority with the ones that are already present as well? It's
Yes.
horrible walking in.
You're walking in like it's like walking into a Wild West saloon.
Yes.
I also think there's a sense of superiority between the showered and have-nots. I go down unshowered quite often for
Yeah.
the hotel breakfast.
Oh, is that right, Al?
And you can really sense that people have cleaned and they feel better about themselves.
And apparently you can't wander down in a nightie. Who knew? Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Well,
that's why I'm no longer welcome at many a premiere in.
I've seen people in a robe at breakfast.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd
Was
go
that
rogue.
Catherine Parr, I think, when I stayed at... No, in one of those white,
In a spa hotel or a normal?
Oh, that'll be a health farm. That'll be when he was away.
in a health farm, you imagine, there's a lot of it about...
Uh-huh.
Can I tell you when I lose respect for people?
Go on.
Always. When they wear those, the free slippers you get
Oh, yes.
with the robe.
When they wear those
We're
to-
better than that,
to
aren't
breakfast.
we? Yeah.
I take them home. Where does that fit in? Of
course you do.
I've got them at home. I find them very hard. I had to walk very clawed, toes very clawed to keep them on. Oh, it's like trying to climb a slippery circle. You know on I'm a Celebrity towards the end when they fire that big hose down the hill. It's like that walking in them.
Where do
Anyway,
you stand on waffle robes? I don't
I don't like those.
Nor do I.
No.
Alan?
no.
Yeah, I don't even see those things. I would never think of keeping one. I just see them.
They're thin and
I didn't
coarse.
like the way you talk to me then. Like we've
almost
been
like
married for 40
furniture
years and
in
you
them.
barely tolerate me.
No, but they are. I have leaned over a piece of toast and grated cheese onto it on my waffle robe. Just held the sleeve out and grated on that. But I had. I'll tell you what I had. This is the only. I never have this ever unless a hotel breakfast. I had a bit of tinned fruit.
Lovely,
Who buys that?
lovely.
I don't think anyone's bought that since GIs used to give it to sort of skittish English girls in the north in order to get favours. But I'll eat it in a hotel.
Really?
So anyway, I'm sitting in there and I'm completely on my own. There was one waitress bopping about, and you'd feel a bit ashamed when you're on your own. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But would you believe it? What came over the pipe music all by myself?
Oh, lovely.
And I sat alone eating tinned fruit with all by my... It wasn't even the Eric Carmen, it was like a cover.
Oh.
Oh, dear. Isn't it great, though, when something happens, music comes on, and it's such a soundtrack to what's really happening?
Yeah.
It's like the best thing. Anyone listening who's ever had a spontaneous soundtrack moment, I'd love to hear about it. I bet there'll be one in Britain. So that was... did I ever tell you about the time I went up to a didgeridoo player in Edinburgh, at the Edinburgh Festival?
I hope you didn't say something awful.
No, I said, do you know All By Myself by Eric Carmen? As if he could have gone... just looked at me.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Guess what 024 says?
Go on.
My dad, this is Re Your Love Shack.
Oh, yeah.
My dad built a bar in his house using old gravestones. You can still read the names and dates.
Oh, man!
That's from
That
Glenn.
can't be right, can it?
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Whoa-wee.
I love it.
There's so
I'd
much
drink
in
there.
that. A bar in his house. That's,
Where did he get the old gravestones from? Did they throw them away after a bit?
maybe they were toppled. They're toppled, aren't they?
What, like that statue of Saddam Hussein they got?
I hit with the shoe.
Got hit with a flip-flop.
I believe in doing that in relationships. If you're angry with them, just hit a photo of them with
With a
shoe.
flip-flop.
Oh,
Get
yeah.
all your anger out. It's fine.
I gradually pull down an effigy of them
Yeah.
with much cheering.
Whatever gets you through it. That's what
Yeah.
I say. We've also had a text saying, "Morning team, historical souvenirs. Whilst admiring a section of poop deck mast from Nelson's flagship HMS Victory at the Greenwich Maritime Museum, I noticed a loose splinter of wood where a cannonball had hit. I pocketed said splinter and is now pride of place sellotape to my boiler." Gregor in Lewisham. How do we feel about
Where do you
that?
stand on that, Frank?
I'm not happy about that.
Why?
Because
But
if
listen, he said a
everybody-
loose splinter.
Well, loose in what way, though?
How dare you?
Loose as in... It must have been connected, otherwise he wouldn't have known it was a splinter from the mast.
Yeah.
So he's taken a piece of the mast, which belongs to me and to you and to you.
I don't want it.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Well,
with
I want
Gregor
it.
having
I don't want loose
I
splinters.
want it. Get your hands off my mast.
I think the fact that it was loose, I don't mind that.
It wasn't loose.
Well, he
It
says
can't
it
have
was
been.
loose.
Well, he means loose as in when a tooth is loose, you still have to pull it out. If we all went around taking bits of national monuments,
There'd
there'd
be no
national
Sudeley
monument.
Castle.
Yes, I didn't take it. Remember,
Okay.
I was sent it. Anyway, thank you for writing in, but
Gregor.
I think you did a bad thing, and I think you should take it back to the mast. Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Come on in.
Soundtrack to Life we've also been talking about.
Oh yes,
yeah.
yes.
866. Frank, I was once visiting my uncle in a retirement home when the radio started blaring out Don't Fear the Reaper. None of the residents reacted. Maybe it was too late already. That's Mike in Suffolk.
Oh man.
On the other end of the same spectrum, on the way to hospital with my wife in labour, what comes on the radio? Stand and Deliver by Adam and the Ants. Perfect.
Beautiful. Seeing a film, both of those would have worked.
Yeah. Indeed.
Did you used to do I used to do my own soundtracks when I was a kid. So I'd sort of say, so I said, right, come on then, let's, we're going to go into this cave now. Dun, 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 and I do all the music. Do you ever do that? No.
No, not so much.
You know when comedians say, "Oh, just me then,"
I love those comedians.
which means I just said something that wasn't that funny.
309.
I might have to actually. That joke went so badly. I think I'm going to have to resign. I'm going to stand down, and I just want to say, I want to thank you guys for working so hard.
Who's
on
going to
this
take
show.
the job?
I don't know. Wouldn't it be great if this Yvette Cooper was presenting this show next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
309 has texted us.
Okay.
Frank, read the soundtrack of your life. My son just fell over and bumped himself, bursting into tears, accompanied by Boys Don't Cry.
Oh.
Perfect timing.
Brilliant. But the people listening to us
Of
on
course,
the
yeah.
Decade stations will say,
No
well,
clue.
what do you mean, Boys Don't Cry? That wasn't played. It was I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston.
Good choice.
Oh, you know when you're trying to think of an example, it just sticks in your head like that bit when you're squeezing out moisturiser and you haven't used it for a week 'cause you've been away on holiday, and there's like a hard bit in the end. When it comes out, you can't use that moisturiser 'cause it's like putting a razor on your face. There's a bit of observational comedy that no one else has ever experienced. So I had
Shoot on that.
That's like if I did stand up. That's my material.
the real fine details of moisturiser. So
A type 5 on foundation.
can I say, to my credit, I've been slightly less of a git just lately. In that I did two nice things.
What'd you do?
I had a friend stay over. We don't have many house guests that aren't Cat's family, and I did the thing where I'll tell you what I did. I left a folded clean towel on the bed,
No.
like a hotel. I've seen it. I've seen
Oh,
it
I
at a
love
hotel.
that. It's
Yeah.
so welcoming.
It's
I
good.
did-
And a waffle robe?
I
And
didn't
some
leave a
slippers?
waffle robe, but I put some clean soap. I got. Obviously, I'm offloading the imperial leather.
Of course.
Now I realise it hasn't got its metal stand. I flushed. I really. I prepared the bathroom.
You flushed.
Yeah.
Like it's a big deal. Whoa, we've got a guest in town.
Yeah, better flush
flush.
that. Better flush that. Otherwise, we'll have to. We'll have to just peel the skin off it. So
How was it with the house guest?
it was very nice, actually. He's a friend of mine who's he's a poet. So he was down, as you can imagine. He was doing a reading at the Swedenborg Centre in Bloomsbury.
It's all gone a bit the writing of Frankenstein.
Yeah, so that's a poetry. I've just given you a poetry news update. That's what I've
Yeah,
done.
well done.
So I did that, and then, what about this? I actually loaned my car out. Have you ever done that? Have you ever let anyone drive your car?
No,
It's a big step.
It is a big step, yeah.
Yeah.
It's my sister-in-law. It wasn't like, you know.
Okay.
But, so I...
Did you arrange the appropriate
Can she
insurance?
drive? Can she drive?
Yes,
well?
Good.
46 quid.
That's all right.
To put her on the insurance, but I was happy with it. And she drove off with my
How frank
my
is
pop.
that, sorry, that he told us the price
Yeah.
of the insurance?
Oh, people
And
people
her.
are interested. He drove.
She rounded up to 50 when she gave you it.
She drove. She drove off. She didn't give it me. I paid.
What?
Yeah. As I say, unless I
out.
forget.
Bang out of order.
Was Drive by the Cars playing as she drove off?
No, I think it was There Goes My Everything by Engelbert Humperdinck. Because she had my girlfriend was in the car and my child and the poet, who was a very good friend of mine.
What was the poet doing in the car?
Well,
Who held his cage?
I couldn't take him for another night. I said, just
Why
drive
did
it.
the poet go off with your wife and child and your sister-in-law?
Oh, look, I
Is this a
can't.
joke?
The thing is with house. No, I'm not. It was in the car.
I meant, why did the poet go off with the...
It's a tough one. Yeah. So I sent them off. Yeah. I can only have them for one night, a house guest.
Yeah.
So I told her to just leave him on waste ground, like people do with dogs. Tie him. I said tie him up. I don't want him wandering into the road. But so yes, and well, there's more to this story, but we'll go.
Oh, there is.
Let's go to the news.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Helen Cochran. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. So, where were we? Ah, yes. So, off went my car with my sister-in-law.
And the poet.
The poet, and my child and my partner, and off it went. And but don't get me wrong, my sister-in-law's a very good driver. Otherwise, obviously, I wouldn't have suggested it in the first place. Then I got a call.
Like Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, though. Don't you? She's
Then
a
I
good
got
driver. She's a very good driver.
She's an excellent driver. And so then I got a call from my girlfriend saying we're on the motorway. And we're upside down and on fire. No, I added the last bit. So we're on the motorway, and we can't switch the indicator off.
Oh, I thought she was going to say we're having trouble with this limerick.
Yeah, and he doesn't do limericks. He's a proper poet.
Okay, so protective over the
poets
poet.
don't do
I've not heard
limericks.
anything like it.
They're hard.
Anyway, so she couldn't. And now I'm a bit worried about having your indicator on the motorway.
Yes,
Oh, you can't have it on there.
Because I absolutely go off indicators. If someone's indicating left, I'll just, drive straight at them knowing they're about to move any minute.
Yeah.
And
Makes sense.
so it made me a bit anxious.
Why? I don't understand why it wasn't going off.
No, I don't.
Did you get to the bottom?
You know
of
what they're like. So,
What, these poet drivers?
no,
he
he
meant
wasn't driving.
indicators.
He was desperately trying to think of something to rhyme with indicator. Vindicator.
That's
See, he could say, oh, she's getting blamed for not being able to operate the indicator. If I could speak on the phone, maybe I could vindicate her.
Oh,
Indicate.
Yes.
oh, you'll have him out of a job soon.
Yes, well, there's a room at the top.
You did
in
say
the
he was a
poetry
proper
world.
poet, so he probably doesn't have to
No,
rhyme.
he doesn't
stuff.
rhyme.
What's the salary for a poet?
Oh, a bit personal. Isn't
Well,
it?
he sells books.
Does he?
If you'd like to buy his new book, it's called Sea Table.
Oh, lovely.
Anyway, and so it's all right.
Sea Wing.
And then I got a call a bit later. Sea Biscuits, or Alex Ferguson's favourite film.
One of the only 5 films, isn't it, that Michael Owen's seen?
It is.
I read an interview with Sir Alex Ferguson when he said, people think I'm the sort of obsessive, but I mean, and they think that Arsene Wenger's very cultured and stuff, whereas,
Yeah.
he's watching Bundesliga games on a Tuesday night. My favourite film is Seabiscuit.
Illustrates what a hinterland he has.
Proves what?
Anyway, meanwhile,
so,
over with the poet.
Yes, so
On the
it was
motorway.
all fine. I got a call later to say that was it had been sorted, the indicator thing,
It clicked it back upwards.
and they
my
all
guess.
got back safely on the Sunday night, and I was glad, and
Lovely.
it was lovely, and I felt I'd done a good deed, 46 quid, and didn't ask for any petrol money. It was all,
Good for you.
I felt good about
Big
myself,
man. Good
and
for you.
it's nice. I felt like I was a real family man.
Yeah.
And, I'd all transported
Provider.
my family, I'd transported culture across the country. So it was all good, and I got up the next morning, and
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
so I looked out of I stepped out of my door.
Oh, this was post-car lend.
Yeah, this was the next morning. This is Monday morning. The car came home Sunday night.
Oh, no.
Song poet. He'd been dropped off on my
Sounds anything.
So, there it was across the road, my car, and there was, that plastic fencing where people put up when they're doing road works.
Yeah.
Yes.
That sort of orange plastic. That was right up to the car. It was on both sides. I mean, it looked like the car was part of the... In fact, it looked like my composite historical houses home. It had plastic fencing, and there was the car. You couldn't have put a tube ticket in between the bumper and the plastic fencing. So I thought, that's a bit odd. I went over. There's a parking ticket on the windscreen. It had been parked in a suspended bay.
Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
So I took the parking ticket off. The penalty charge, in their little waterproof coat they put them in.
I hate it when someone watches you do that. And I have to pretend I'm very unaffected.
No, but I had
I
the
might shout,
worst.
I'm rich, it's fine.
If you hate it,
I have to do that.
if you hate it when someone watches you take it off, let me introduce you to a new nightmarish world. Because
I think you've done that already.
I don't know what I was thinking of. There was all these builders watching me. Because obviously, I say builders, they were road worker
Types.
people. And why did I do this? I opened the car and tried to take the ticket from inside. I had it in my head that it was inside the windscreen, so I reached.
You got a parking ticket off Dynamo.
Like a butterfly.
I'll just leave it on the inside, shall
You know
I?
when you get a butterfly at your window? It was like that. I was reaching. It was doing my fingers. Oh, and they were all looking at me. I mean, they were.
Frank.
They were East European, so they'd seen magic. They'd seen close-up magic before. It's massive over there.
You're going to have to move. There's no alternative.
Oh,
You can't face
dear.
them again.
What was I thinking of?
What was the point at which you realised the full horror of what you'd done, and you were going to have to get out of the car and take it from
I hadn't got in the car, though. I opened the door and just leaned.
Oh, it's worse.
So I couldn't even think I was getting in to get me bald sweets off the dash.
Do you think they're thinking that guy's allowed to drive and he doesn't understand the concept of glass?
I know, it was so awful. And I had to ask them to move their fence so I could back up. I couldn't get out.
Well, you hate reversing as well,
I
don't
know,
you? It's not for you.
Oh, it was so... And of course, by then they moved it they thought I was insane. They all moved it
Half a mile.
instantly before I took them by the throats. But, oh... dear, honestly, it was terrible. If you can imagine, sometimes you get a butterfly at the window and you get a cat trying to get it from inside. That was me. That was me. Double. Well, anyway, there's more. Stick around.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
My car.
I don't know.
Oh, yes,
car.
oh, yes.
You just humiliated yourself in front of the builders.
Yes, so I got my ticket. They're quite two-tone, aren't they, the parking tickets?
Black and yellow.
Tickets.
No, they got
Yellow
that...
They're a
and
bit
black.
selector, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They've got that check thing on. It's a bit one step beyond.
Yeah. Pay it early though. Comes down a bit in price, doesn't it?
I know. 64,
Is that right?
64 quid.
Well, that's what it come down to.
That's the cheapest.
Is that the cheapest it goes?
Ooh.
Oh, I've never paid the cheapest.
Ooh, ouchie.
So, well, I was alright with it. Because this is, as I say, this is my new anti-git regime.
Yeah.
What, you mean you weren't going to get cross with her about it?
I didn't even mention it to her. In fact,
Just
unless
mentioned it on the radio
Set
show.
it up
Yes.
for public broadcasting.
unless she's listening to this, you'll never know.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's fine. It's fine. We all make mistakes.
You know what? Nothing has ever sounded more fine.
No, it's absolutely... It's
Weird,
fine!
It's strange that you can say that and rip the arm off the chair at the exact same time.
And as a woman, I understand the concept of, it's fine.
No, but it really is fine. She's lovely. She's not like a sister. You know, a lot of sister-in-laws. People out there will know sister-in-laws are often people you don't want to spend any time with. But I like mine a lot. So it's fine.
It's fine.
However, I had a dream the following evening
Oh, God.
in which I had a
God.
phone call to say that the Pope had commandeered my car for his own use. And giving me the
Like a policeman in an 80s TV thing. I'm having this.
Yeah, but I
the
wasn't-
badge and he's off in it.
But I wasn't. I don't know. He got into it or something. You know, it was like I was in it, and he came and commandeered it. So that had gone, and they gave me the license plate of another car parked quite a way away, which they said I could use.
Was that like
While he was,
POP3? Like
Yeah.
Pope. It's the Pope's car that you can
No, I
just
think
No,
I
it still
don't-
says Frank.
I don't know
Pope
who's
Frank.
But that I could use that one while he was until he'd finished with mine.
Oh, that's
Imagine
nice,
the
Frank.
trouble you'd have parking a Pope mobile. It'd be a nightmare, wouldn't it?
I'd love one of
They're quite a
those.
long vehicle.
But I think it on what it was, because I like a bit of self.
Oh, yeah, so have you
analysis of
worked out
dreams.
what that means then?
Well, I think it's because it's the same thing, really. It's something happening which you're not that happy about, but it's done to you by someone who you like a lot.
Yes, it's a benign presence.
Yeah,
in your
so
life.
you just
Fan of the Pope, aren't you?
just carry on. What?
I don't like to understate things.
Not big fan of the Pope. He's the man, as far as I'm concerned.
Man.
So, yeah. Where he's going to park it, I imagine he'll just abandon it.
Yeah, it's going to come back covered in parking tickets, isn't it?
No one would dare.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So we're about halfway through the show, and we haven't talked about the big changes that are afoot in the country that I think we all voted on in the team.
Yeah.
Are we
Yes,
gonna-
it's
we're gonna
exciting
get
because we haven't been. I don't know if anyone's even considered this, but obviously we've been vetoed from mentioning the election for the last
Yeah.
few weeks in case we influence anyone's vote
yeah,
or something.
and also because of the tedium of having to make it fair. Like if we
I love the
accidentally mention someone, we've got to mention all the
Yeah.
others. So
yeah,
I love the idea that we could possibly influence anyone's vote at all.
yeah,
I like
Not
the
political
idea of-
insight.
Like if I mention West Bromwich Albion, I've got to mention the other 19 Premier League teams. When would you normally do that? What about every time I name a song, I have to name every... Anyway.
yeah. That,
Anyway, it was... yes, I don't think we're going to influence... We're not going to influence them now, obviously, it's too late.
No.
I imagine most Absolute listeners voted for Aerosmith.
yeah. yeah.
I was very keen, Frank. 7:15 a.m. I was there.
Really?
Yes.
Got it done early.
Well, I had a wardrobe crisis. What does one wear to vote?
What do you wear, to vote?
Well, I put on. I'm afraid I put on a baseball cap because I had dirty hair.
What?
And I had New York Yankees.
Oh, dear. Did you have a big cup from a local
dare you.
fast food place?
No.
Remember you used to see Britney in a baseball cap with a big cup,
Oh,
big
with a
cup of
cappuccino.
pop.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
No, it was pop with her, I think.
Oh, was it?
So it used to have a straw in
Soda
it.
pop.
Yeah.
Soda.
Then I noticed my jumper had the old Stars and Stripes flag.
God, you look so
That's
American.
Looked
when
like
you
Yankee
voted.
Doodle.
That's a bit confusing, isn't it?
I took it off. I started right from scratch.
Okay.
So I was pleased with my outfit,
For voting.
and that was my election day. But,
So what did you wear? Union Jack trouser suit?
no, I left that to you at the Brits.
Probably bring that up.
I felt very smug, Frank. I felt quite drunk with power. Do you feel that when you vote?
When you vote?
I put the emphatic cross. I enjoy it.
Well, I did the postals this year. It's not as much fun.
Oh, yeah.
I like the smell of a primary school.
Oh, yeah.
But
What about?
so I didn't get that thrill.
No.
I was at a scout hut at the end of my road. Very convenient, isn't it? Very convenient.
Oh, very, very. I'll tell you
There are
what,
lots
though.
of them, aren't there? They
I
really
got-
set it up for you.
I gotta say, I do love a bit of election coverage.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I watched it. I watched hours.
Did you stay up?
I stayed up till about 1:30, which for me is absolutely
night for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's unheard of.
Well,
And then I got up again at 7 to catch up.
Yeah.
Did you?
To me, it's like a sort of thinking man's Gillette Soccer Saturday.
Yeah.
It's just all these people sitting around, your expert. I call them experts.
Yeah,
you know, the
pundits.
experts who said it was going to be a really, really tight election.
Yeah.
I know.
Those experts.
Uh-huh.
Can I say I predicted the sex of the royal baby last week? Read into that what you will.
But absolutely nothing.
Yes, 50-50, innit?
Al, did you watch it?
I did watch some of the late night coverage, like yourself, Frank. I sort of started nodding off at about 1:30 in the morning and then tuned in.
Well, nothing's
quite
happening,
early.
isn't it?
Difficult, but I think I've had a bit of a radical brainwave because I got a text off my mate who said, "Oh, have you been watching it all night?" And I said, and my mate's in
Was that a
New
needy David Dimbleby?
Yeah, he's.
How was I? Was I okay?
Is there any other kind of David Dimbleby?
Yeah, me and David
If there is, I don't
Dimbleby,
want to know, Frank.
long time friends, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
We're old buddies.
Double
We go-
D, as I call him.
me and-
He had a big cop.
He did. But my mate texted me, who's working in New Zealand right now, and I said,
Wow.
yeah, I watched a bit of it last night, and he said, I've been watching it all day, because of course
Really?
it's the opposite there. And I was thinking,
Oh, yeah.
why don't we do that? Why don't we have like an agreed population late night where we vote at night, and then they start the counting, and then we get up and you can watch
and
the
you can watch it normally.
results come in all
Well,
day.
you're
They
a
could
bit-
just start the counting later,
Yeah.
couldn't they?
Yeah, they could all clock
Also,
off.
10
after
p.m.
that.
is very late to close.
But it is
those
exciting
polling
staying
stations.
up at night and getting up in the morning and the country.
Exhausting, isn't it? It's
It
exhausting.
is if you live through the 90s. So you.
Besides, as it turned out with the exit polls, we could have all gone to bed at 10:05.
Yeah.
So they told us exactly.
You both watched it. That's exciting. I was only down there.
What?
I only went down.
To Whitehall?
No, not to Whitehall.
Westminster.
I was there at Pinewood Studios to watch the Channel 4 Alternative Election Special. Yeah. Apparently James Bond was down there.
James
They'd
Bond?
been filming it earlier in the day at Pinewood. What do you think he votes?
James Bond or
Yeah.
Daniel Craig?
Well, I
Oh.
don't know. I suspect.
James Bond would vote Conservative, surely.
No, UKIP, surely.
Maybe.
Come on.
It's a problem there, isn't there? We're dating. I suppose he's still around, film-wise. Yeah, so we may. Can you vote if you're licensed to kill?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I should imagine so.
I think one buys one privilege by losing the other.
Oh, that sounds
Right.
tricky.
Never mind that. What about when I met Jeremy Paxman?
You met Paxo?
Hold it. Well, let's leave it on. Let's leave it on that cliffhanger, and we'll come back after these messages.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Are you looking at me?
Paxman?
Let's not talk about when I met Jeremy Paxman. Let's talk about when your car wouldn't start.
You met Paxo?
I did meet Paxo.
Do you remember when I met him on a plane, and he told me?
What did he say?
He said, "I've been trout fishing in Chile."
Did he?
Yeah. Wow.
Was he speaking in code?
I think maybe he was.
think he's
Yeah,
a
he
spy?
gave
I
me
think
a
he
brown
was.
parcel.
You see,
So?
well, I'm very. He's something of a hero of mine.
Is
I'm
he?
not going to lie. Yes.
What is that?
I don't know. There's something sort of very impressive, but slightly intimidating about him. So I was nervous. I was fearful, Frank. I
Yes.
didn't want to mess this up. It felt like a first date I wanted to get right.
What did you wear?
That's none of your business.
Okay.
A negligee. I went into the makeup room, get them while they're vulnerable, and my boyfriend was having his makeup done.
Okay.
That sounds rather strange, but that's nevertheless that's
Show
where it
business.
was. Yeah, show
No, I
business.
think Eddie Izzard is.
I'm not going out with Eddie Izzard.
He's made a life choice. That's fine. I respect him for
You're
it.
fine with it, he's fine with it. It's not...
That's the
as
great
you
thing
should
about
be
the
judged,
world.
isn't it?
We're more accepting nowadays.
Definitely
People,
are on
you know.
this show, aren't we?
Oh God, on this show.
All welcome.
So I decided that was a good time to strike,
Okay.
but I got too nervous. You know, it was a bit like taking a penalty or something when you play for England. I ruined it a bit initially because I was too.
You didn't call him Jezza, did you?
No, I was worried because when I said "nice to meet you," I assume he'll say, "What do you mean, nice to meet you?"
I assumed he'd say to meet you nice. That's not him, is it? No. It's not him. Has he still got the beard, the goatee thing?
Oh no, he hasn't got that. That's long gone.
Okay.
But he was charming.
Lineker. I think Lineker bought it from him. Carry on.
I think he felt my desperation initially. I laughed a bit too hard at his jokes. Not that they weren't even jokes. He just sort of.
I was going to say, I'd
talking.
like to hear his jokes.
And he's very funny, actually.
Yeah.
And then I touched his arm a couple of times in that sort of we're friends way.
As in, get off me kind of way.
No, I just, you know, I'm imagining when you two have done a bad gig, which I'm sure has happened occasionally. Have you felt you've lost the audience, and then you've gone hard to try and win them back, and it's come over a bit desperate?
That was on this show, I'd say 7 or 8 times, most weeks.
Okay. Well, that's where I found myself.
Okay.
So I decided, I thought, I'm gonna remain calm about this. I'm gonna get Jeremy. I'm gonna win him over. So I decided to do this at my boyfriend's expense. He has an eye condition, which is
Who does?
my boyfriend does.
Oh, I see you mean.
It's called
Paxmania.
no.
It's called jealousy. So you just snog Paxman. Imagine if you just going to just really big.
Full on.
Imagine if I'd have done that.
Get on.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
It's called nystagmus, and it just means he has. I know I'm going to keep it light. He has a slightly reduced vision and a slight kind of
Periphery.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, that's it. Get
But
away with
Paxman
it.
was being incredibly nice about this, and very compassionate and very kind. So I thought I'll make my little joke. So what do you think of this? I'll tell you what I said, and you tell me if you would have laughed at this. I know this is a tough room.
Did you say Henry the First and Henry the Second?
I said, he said, well, you know, that's terrible. How do you cope with it? And he was being very compassionate and asking questions. And I sort of touched him a bit, and I said, the good news is, Jeremy, at least you can't see my cellulite. And do you know what? I waited.
Yeah.
There was an awkward 30 seconds. He gave me a big belly laugh.
It can't have been 30 seconds.
It felt like that. I felt sick. I thought I was going to
If
vomit.
it had been 30 seconds, the world would have stopped.
Yeah, if it was 30 seconds, then he was just laughing at something else.
My boyfriend had sweat
Yeah.
pouring down his forehead.
Wow.
But I got a laugh out of Paxo.
Well done.
Good
And the
for
good
you.
thing about it is that you were true to yourself, because it's your, you know, it's a very you gag.
Well, I felt it was my manner.
You didn't feel you had to do a joke about the news.
I didn't go politics. That's not
No.
my manner, Frank.
No!
My manner is cellulite.
Well, respect to you for that.
Thank you.
And, yeah, I don't imagine he's an easy man to get a laugh out of, and, I don't know. I don't know him.
I don't
Well,
know.
if you
Probably
met
a
him,
great
I would
chap.
try some of the Henry material and see how it goes.
No, I'll say, has that got any of them trout yet? See if he remembered. That's the way to. They love a callback.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
You know what, we haven't really talked
That's
about
horrible,
much.
Frank.
It's-
Don't do
I
that.
know that was horrible.
We haven't talked much about your take on the election, Frank. I mean, I don't like to prejudge you, but I'm guessing that you spend a lot of time in a swing seat. What with your friends in the S&M community?
I live in the country's smallest
All right,
marginal,
Blur.
a real marginal,
Oh, do you?
mega marginal.
Marginal.
Yeah, but it all turned out all right there. It was. Is it going to spoil it now if the exit polls are really super accurate every year? There will be no point for that staying up
Yeah.
that thing. Just that'll
Well,
be
that's
it.
it.
Maybe. Yeah. hadn't really thought of it like that.
Exit
Do you know what?
polls.
That felt so like question time, that
Yeah.
moment.
Well, I was just about to spoil it by saying that exit polls is actually a UKIP policy.
Oh, that's a lovely political joke.
But how does it work? How does it work, the exit polls? It must be based on the fact, hadn't it? You know, I've worked in it. Because, it was all very, very, very tight. Then the exit
Yes.
polls gave it Tories miles away.
Yeah.
It must mean that most people turn up at the polling booth.
Do they lie?
No, I think they haven't. They have no idea what they're going to vote, so they must turn up. They must turn up. They've got the pencil in one hand, the paper in the other, and they think, well, now let me see. And that's when they first think about it. And then when they come out, it's Labour, as it turned out. It could have been, well, I didn't know it's the last minute. I think that's what happens. Or maybe it's that thing, when you used to spot the ball and you close your eyes and bring it down, and then, seems like I've voted.
Do you think that's why they got it wrong?
Well, how else
I reckon
can
my
that have
boyfriend will know.
happened?
He's clever. I'm going to ask him.
They had Theresa May on the BBC. Do you know Theresa May?
No,
No,
but thanks for the tip.
And she was on, and they said that, so, if these exit polls are correct, then that's a tremendous... She said, well, let's just wait and see. And he said, well, we're just to speculate. She said, no, I don't want to speculate on the results. And why have you come on at 20 past 10?
Yeah.
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 You tell him, Frank.
I did a lot of shouting at the telly.
Yeah,
Did
they
you?
should just put the test card on until they've got some answers, shouldn't they?
But I do...
It'd be nice to have the test card back in the day, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What about when David Dimbleby got angry when the woman photobombed him?
I never saw that bit. That
happened?
must have happened when I was
A
asleep.
cup of tea. Well, I think his tempers were frayed, and so were nerves. It would
He
have been
can go a
5
bit.
a.m.
My old mate, David Dimbleby, he can really go.
Your needy friend.
Yeah, if he gets photobombed, he's particularly chopsy.
He
Double
said, for
do.
God's sake.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, blaspheming as well.
Have you noticed this thing that whenever you get a politician turn up somewhere with their wife, if it's if it's one of the leaders I'm
Yeah.
thinking of, them all being like, the big ones being male, they turn up. So if there was a shot of Miliband turned up to vote with his wife. And I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for that moment when they point. They do a thing where the
Yes,
bloke
they do
points.
point.
And
It's like a gratin catalogue
every
in the
time
80s.
you see them together. When Cameron walked down the street back to number 10 with Sam Cam, I thought it's got to happen. I was saying to Cass, wait, I bet you. And there he points at the and they point at things like the cameramen. Like, look at that.
I at the risk
Look
of
at that bloke with a camera.
at the risk of sounding cynical, I think this is a thing that they're told to do by advisors because seeing someone that they seem to know in the crowd makes them look sincere or something. So I think they do
I
it
think that's
deliberately.
true.
Oh, I
They
don't know
point
if he did that phone. He nailed the phone up to the the phone to the ear. Mine.
and then looked at his watch. 5. I'll call you at 5. Was it that?
But they did that.
It makes them look more real. I can see
think
that.
it makes them look
so.
in charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a
Oh,
bit
yeah.
sexist, in fact. It's sort of
I
saying...
think it's a bit sexy.
No, I think it's sort of saying, well, she won't notice. If I don't point it out to her, she walks straight past it. Walk past the cameras picking her nose, she won't know. There they are, look over there. But you watch out for it now. It's an absolute theme. Point. I think you're right. I think that's something they've been told to do to make them look pointy.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
What about Cheryl 507 has just started a text with Emily is right. Always my favourite way to begin.
Wing is the next.
Others take note. Emily is right. Definitely not, can I say. Emily is right. I lied. Said one party, voted another. My own form of power.
Wow.
I like that she doesn't say which.
No.
She's a woman of mystery, very like
mystery
myself.
about
It's a secret ballot. What about where I live? There was 113 votes for a candidate known as the Eurovisionary Carol.
Right.
Now, the Eurovisionary Carol is a guy called Ronnie Carroll, who, when I was a kid, was quite a big star.
Oh, yes. His
That's a
children went
British
to my school.
singing star.
Yeah.
He's married to Millicent Martin, who used to sing on That Was the Week That Was. So they were, a bit of a show.
If at any point I can join this conversation,
Yeah.
I'll let
Do
you
you
know.
know,
yeah?
Luke and Jamie Carroll, whatever are they up to now?
Well, anyway, so...
Good-looking boys.
So
I'm taken, but they're
So
good-looking
he
boys.
stood, Ronnie Carroll, as the Eurovisionary Carol, called the Eurovisionary Carol because he was in Eurovision twice.
Brilliant.
I mean, absolutely brilliant. He got 113 votes,
Yeah.
despite the fact that he died in April.
No.
Yeah, God bless him. Sad news, I know, but it does say on the ballot paper, sadly, this candidate died in April. Still got 113 votes.
Wow.
That's what I mean about the slight randomness of people's choices. Unless that was a deliberate, it could have been a homage.
Yeah.
People got in trouble, Frank, for taking selfies, didn't they?
Yes.
Apparently there was a prison fine if you did that. Oh, there was a fine and a prison sentence, I apologise.
Well,
What, for taking selfies?
Yes.
Oh, in the
booth, you
I think it's awkward because I think you're
Is it
allowed to
hashtag
take.
orcs?
I think you're allowed to take photographs of yourself, but you're not allowed to then reveal how somebody else has voted. So if somebody else sends that picture on, they can get in trouble or something. What?
I just put my hand up. I'll tell you what it is, Frank.
Oh, here we
Can I
go.
answer this?
Yes.
You should have said lady in the blue shirt. It's,
Yes.
you're not allowed to share it.
That's it.
You're allowed to take the photograph, the act of taking a photograph, but the minute you share it, you go to prison.
I thought it's illegal to take a photograph of a pencil on a string. Well, I could be wrong.
a good rule.
Back to Eurovision. Pencil on a string.
What's amazing to me is that we've ended up, I'm not saying rightly or wrongly, but it is amazing to me that we've ended up with a Prime Minister of the country who got his football team wrong and ate a hot dog with cutlery. I mean, that, to me, is...
I know.
They are
But
two
like I
fairly
say-
big PR gaffes, aren't they?
Like I was saying earlier, we're more accepting now of people's differences. I think that if you
Hot dog
take...
with cutlery.
I don't wish to get
Oh, I would agree
personal,
with you on that.
but the success of Mr. Cameron and Ms. Sturgeon suggests
Yes.
an anti-lips movement going through Britain. What's wrong?
Next thing we know is for Kenneth Branagh to get in power.
What? Suddenly they've turned against lips. I mean, it used to be. When I was a kid,
Morton
when Mick
Harkett.
Jagger was massive.
We need a Kardashian on the scene.
Yeah.
Put things right.
Balance things out.
But fancy
sure.
that they've turned against that.
Sounded a little bit creepy when you said that, Al.
What? Morton Harkett?
No.
Oh, for sure.
Well, here's a question for you: how much does Alex Salmond hate Jessica? Because she is absolutely
Nicola.
Sorry, how much does he hate Nicola? She's Sturgeon. She,
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
What do you need?
yeah, she is. That's another woman he hates. I won't tell you about. No, oh God, because she is now. She's so the face. And, oh dear. I mean, they can't run side by side because obviously the Crankies factor would.
Frank?
That would go against. Well, come on, that would be a pretty. They could do a if they had.
They really
if they had a sense of humour, if they went to like a big celebratory party for that as the Crankies, wouldn't
That would
you
be
think
good.
better of them?
Yeah.
She's had a successful restyle, though. I'll give her that.
I think she's, an attractive. I couldn't live without lips. I
Good
don't need
pair
that
of
in my life.
pins. Quite Mrs. Brown's boys.
Yeah. Why is it that men have always got such good legs when they
Yeah.
dress up as women?
You've got one of the best legs I've ever seen.
Just
One of the best ones, yeah.
The other one's
The other
withered,
one.
isn't it?
The other one's very gnarled. Extremely gnarled.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can I say, though, although I was really very, very interested and fascinated by the election coverage.
Yes.
And I didn't, no disrespect to you and yours, but I didn't watch the comedy thing. I really stuck with the factual stuff. I sort of flicked.
Well, that's because David Dimbleby was texting you all night, saying,
Yeah.
"Are you watching me?"
But even in the midst of all that, when there was a caption on, I think on Sky, that said Ed Ball's defeat, and I thought that sounds someone just like, working their way down the body parts. So I had to mix it up. I mixed it up a bit for my own entertainment. But there was some sad bits.
What was that then?
Well,
Oh, what about Vince Cable, my crush?
Oh God, your
Cry?
crush.
Gone.
I'm inconsolable.
Gone but not forgotten.
That
Not
was-
by me, certainly.
And I'm really going to miss Nigel Farage's coat. You know that Arthur Daly coat?
Yes.
He wore that on every interview.
Yes.
And, of course, I shall miss George Galloway's Trilby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
You know, he's
mainly-
got one of those, what's he called, Gunter von Hagen,
Oh,
who did
yes.
who did the
Yeah.
Dead Bodies exhibitions. He's got the same hat.
Yeah, he has.
Yes.
Who wears a Trilby to turn up for your election announcement? Since
Well, is
I
he
mean,
wearing
since-
a trilby in a sort of Dave Stewart way, if you know what I mean?
Oh,
Well, I
yeah.
don't think he's bald, is he?
I will never know, because
Galloway.
he's always got the trilby on.
Yeah.
It's worked.
It's like an election in like 1930 Chicago. It's turned up.
And also on the
Legislating
subject,
against Sorry, what were you
on
going to
the
say?
subject of hats, who in this day and age thinks it's a good idea to say, if this poll is true, I'll eat my hat? Surely, the moment that comes out your face, you think, oh God, I'm going to have to eat a hat tomorrow. And he did it. Paddy
He shouldn't
Ashdown
have said
said it
that.
on the...
I know he said
Oh, I
it.
thought you meant when he did it, he ate the
no, he
hat.
hasn't.
No,
eaten
he
the
said,
hats.
he said,
He said,
I'll
"I'll
eat
eat my
it,"
hat.
and he said, I'll eat it on this programme, and then they got a hat after.
Did they
They got
say,
him a
did
hat.
they give him the hat?
And he said, well, I think I should do, and he kept on, Alistair Campbell said he'd eat his kilt.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that'd be a sight for sore eyes.
Well, I wouldn't mind eating a kilt, 'cause it doesn't come into contact.
Can I just say, I would watch Vince Cable eating pretty much anything.
What's,
I don't know what to say.
what's Ed... Here's my question. It's a bit off topic. What's Ed Miliband going to do with that 8-foot stone with the pledges carved into it? Did you see
I
that?
think he's going to have it
yeah.
broken up, made into a bar in his home.
Ed's Love Shack.
But you know, like when he resigned, he must have had to go into the Labour HQ and clear his office, like get family pictures from his desk and stuff. Do you think he had to say
But of
to
course
some of the
the
bigger
iron-
boys in the office, "Can you help me out with this?
Can you get that into this
8-foot
bin liner
stone?"
for me?
Yeah, I need to put it in the
So
back of a
does-
Ford Transit with a long wheelbase.
Al, DC doesn't want that job, does he? Come on.
Well, he made a good impression of looking like he wanted that job.
Oh, I
They've
don't
been
think he
campaigning
does.
for
No, but
months.
when you vote, whoever you vote for, it's quite sad when one of them has to go. I felt
Yeah.
a bit, but there was a terrible
It's like
thing.
Big Brother.
Ed
It is a
said,
lot like Big Brother, isn't
there's
it?
a bit when Ed said, he said, we've come back before and this party, and he did that thing which I would never have the guts to do, and he said, we've come back before and this party will come back again. And I always think, what if they don't clap?
You just look like a bloke
What if
shouting.
you go into that clap and we will come back again? I mean, can you imagine? I just wouldn't have never
Daisy,
assume.
could you write that down? What if they don't clap? Book number 4 for Frank.
No, but you know that the Chris Evans shouting. I mean, I think he's doing that thing tonight, the VE thing. They'll be like, "Are you having a good time?" if no one comes back to you, imagine.
Do you think he says that to his wife in the bedroom?
Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm gonna have to play some music. I think you've delved into the personal life of a national institution, and I don't mean Bernardo's.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
We should really have an update on another friend of the show. We should really amass who all the friends of the show are.
There aren't
over
that
the
many,
years.
you know.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know
about
how
that.
this bloke snuck under the wire. I wouldn't know him if he came in here now. But he's a friend of the show.
We're going to talk about Robin Thicke.
Friend of the show.
Catherine Parr and Robin Thicke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a strange bunch, isn't it?
It is.
He's been in the papers again. He was married, but now he has a 20-year-old girlfriend.
How old Thicko?
Thicke.
Because I
He's
think
not at my school. Stupid. Which is
I'd say that's why you and him could never be friends, BTW, because you would insist on calling him that.
What is it? I'm sure he doesn't want me calling him
Thicko
Robin.
is
He's
38.
38-year-old
And
singer.
he's got a 20. Well, yeah.
20
Showbiz.
Singer.
38-year-old singer Thicko.
Showbiz, you can take off 15 years off your age, I'm told.
Is that right?
Yeah, so it's not so bad.
Oh, 15 you say. Okay.
Yeah.
He's been up to his old tricks again. There's no
Well.
easy way of saying it, Al.
And some new tricks.
He's been up to his young tricks.
Yeah, she's 20 years old, and apparently they couldn't stop canoodling on an aeroplane.
Could have been worse. There could have been aeroplaning on a canoe. Aeroplaneling. Sorry, that's just rubbish. I am going to resign. I'd like to.
amazing.
But I'll always
Resignation.
support this radio show, but I feel I no longer continue and take full responsibility for the last job.
Would you like to thank the police?
I would like. No, because I
Played 'em
always
every week.
hated playing them.
There was a lot of thanking of the police going on in the elections.
Oh, fabulous.
They'd lost the room, hadn't they?
When in doubt.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Sorry, Al.
No, they were canoodling on an aeroplane, and a woman said they had an obnoxious make-out session. That,
Oh, dear.
that is a zing, isn't it? I mean, nobody likes the idea that their canoodling is obnoxious.
Well, I think what
No.
was obnoxious about it was that they were doing it, the obnoxious make-out session, whilst people were boarding.
In a thoroughfare,
Wow.
in
Yes.
the aisle.
In the aisle.
Yeah, it's the thoroughfare thing, isn't it? That's the problem.
It's like those people who stand in putting stuff in the overhead locker. That block your way. You don't want people snogging in the aisle as well.
No.
Especially with the current anti-lips thing going through. Though apparently Marvin Gaye used to snog on aeroplanes all the time. So I think he might have nicked the idea from him.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Moses going?
No, because he nicked him and Thingy,
Oh,
Pharrell
yeah.
Williams, nicked the tune, didn't they, from Marvin Gaye's song for their big
Oh,
hit.
yeah.
Thanks for getting that on a music radio show.
Barely.
He was out.
Just help me get this large
He was
boulder up
doing
this
some
steep
of
hill.
his contemporary music material.
Come on,
yeah.
that was a big news
It
story.
was decent. Okay, let's move on now.
Anyone who got that at home, thank you so much for being there for me.
What do we feel about PDA's public displays of affection?
Well, one
How
thing
are
I
we-
don't like about PDAs is that they're called PDAs.
Is it?
Because snogging someone, which is what it always is,
Yeah.
Right.
to me,
Canoodling.
it's not a display of affection.
What is it then?
Affection is like when you take the risk of pulling a bit of dry skin off someone's nose. That's
Oh, my goodness.
It's not affection, is it? It's that early stages when you just
yeah.
can't leave them alone. I wouldn't call it affection. Public displays of
Foolishness.
fancying.
All right.
Fancying.
I like
I think PDF's
foolishness.
That's gonna be a
PDF's has already been used up.
Yeah. You
I'll
can't
think of
use that
something.
one now.
Public displays.
I don't understand the airplane thing, though. Or
Why not?
metal bird in the sky, as you are fond of calling it.
What? How they get them off the ground?
No, I don't actually
What about
understand that at all.
what
I
about the
don't
humble bumblebee? I mean, it
No,
shouldn't be
what's
able
I'm
to
saying?
fly.
Why
That's one
do
of those things
people-
that people say that they think they're the only person who's ever read it.
Yeah.
Bumblebee apparently shouldn't be able to fly, engineering-wise. Sorry, carry on.
That's a bit Gary Oldman's sister, isn't it?
It is.
Yes, I just find it's not a place to be amorous, frankly.
No.
All of that
No.
disinfected toilet business, I don't understand it. I don't like it.
I don't understand the disinfected toilet business. What does that
Well, they
mean?
lose, you know.
It's not
You know what I mean? What do they
foxy.
call it?
yeah.
The Mile High Club.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
you don't-
that's something I'm a member of. Yes.
Oh,
You're not.
I'm not going into that on breakfast radio.
Well, that's what the woman said.
How dare you? And she was talking about the disinfected loo. Anyway, so we mustn't talk about that. I don't even want to think about it. But
I feel.
I think when you're snogging on a plane, you're probably just making hay while the sun shines, because once the oxygen masks come down,
Yes.
Yeah.
that's that.
True enough.
Have you ever been on a plane when the
Yes, I've been on a plane.
when the oxygen masks have come down?
No.
Because sometimes they come down accidentally, apparently, and they just imagine that.
Oh no.
Have you seen that, Al, on
No,
Ryanair?
I'd love to see them all dangling. I imagine it's a bit Chinese New Year.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
With the big, bold flavour of HP sauce.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
One more thing on Robin Thicke's girlfriend, who's 20 and is stunning. I think
She's. I've seen.
Oh, creepy much.
I know. Well, she's one of these. She Instagrams herself in a bikini. She's one of those people.
Well, I believe she
thick
works
and
as
thin.
a-
I call them.
Very good. She works as a model, but it does make reading the article quite confusing because it keeps saying Robin Thicke's model girlfriend, which makes her sound a bit eager to please.
Yeah.
Like she's
Yeah.
Or like she's
yeah.
balsa wood.
Can I do anything else for you? Like, she's a model girlfriend.
Well, she could have been a model girlfriend, I think. Do people still do those Airfix? I remember I did an Airfix.
Oh, I wish they would. I love those.
I did a Viking, Airfix Viking. I didn't let the glue dry on the legs bit, and he was leaning back.
Oh,
it was like a Viking about to do a big spit. You know, when the upper body goes like, it's like look like that. The spitting Viking, I called it. It's actually now become the sequel to the Vicar's Saliva, my erotic novel range.
Oh, you know who we also need to talk about? Another friend of the show.
Hold on 1 minute. Friend of the show.
It's only Pope Franny.
Yeah.
Pardon?
He's been showing off his mad skills with the Harlem Globetrotters.
The Harlem Globetrotters is so
Globetrotters.
much a thing from my childhood. I can't tell you how massive the Harlem Globetrotters. They were on telly
what
every
about
week.
About 8
the
feet, I
Pope?
think.
He's pretty massive.
They were like nowadays, like leggings. That's how big they were.
Right.
They were everywhere, the Harlem Globetrotters, and they were like sports, but also entertainment.
Yes, they
I
were.
can't remember the names. Meadowlark Lemon.
Pardon?
Oh, well done.
And there was a bloke called Curly who had a bald head, which at the time I thought was pretty funny.
That is funny.
Yeah.
They got Franny to spin a
Can you
basketball.
not call him that? Can you call him His Holiness?
No, I'm not calling him His Holiness. They
Okay.
got him to spin a basketball on his finger.
Mm-hmm.
And
They should have been there when David Cameron arrived. As soon as they're to the point, go straight in with the spinning basketball.
but I feel it was a bit unfair because it looks like one of those skills that takes about 10,000 hours to achieve. You know, it's one of those 10,000 hours things, I think.
Yeah.
And he wasn't up to the job.
No, he wasn't. He didn't have
Hats off to him. He gave it a go.
very small white hats off to him. No, his finger didn't look strong enough. That's because, you see, had it been Pope Benedict or John Paul II, who was always telling people off, they get a lot more finger action.
Was he red
a
Prada
lot more
shoes, Pope?
the wagging. Yeah, that
Oh,
Benedict
okay.
was. But because the new one is more gentle and kind, he doesn't do much finger wagging, so he hasn't
not
built
Which is
up the
why I think
muscle.
he'd be fine with Franny. I think he'd be down with
Be
that.
all right with first name terms. I have to say, there's a picture in the paper of him looking at some Harlem Globetrotters who are spinning a basketball on their finger, and he looks like the happiest man on earth. It really does.
That's it with the Harlem
Just-
Globetrotters.
It's the power of a ball being spun on a finger
the
as
whole
well.
family would gather round and watch them on the telly.
Yeah, but don't say to the Pope, thanks, man. It's disrespectful.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, they did.
Thanks, man.
I hate them now.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Anyway,
So,
so
all
I
in
was.
all, do you approve of the Pope doing those sort of promotional activities?
I think he's just greeting visitors to Vatican City. He's not doing any harm, is he?
No. It's unusual that he wore Nike robes, though, isn't it? I mean, that's
They
odd.
gave him a Harlem Globetrotters vest with Pope Francis on the back.
Yeah, and
He
the
won't get
number-
much wear out of that. let's
Number
be honest.
90 on it, though.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. I couldn't make it out.
Someone will know at home. They'll be able to help us out. By the way, I've been interviewing this week.
Have you?
I've been interviewing people to work with,
Oh, yeah.
and
Awkward.
yeah, it was a bit.
Yeah.
There was
Thanks
one.
a lot. That's
There's
how we
one
find
awkward
out.
moment. I thought
my coat.
I might leave you with.
Go on.
Daisy, the show producer, is in the meeting with me, and we're talking to this guy, and we're talking about working together and stuff. He said, "Well, one thing I don't like arguing with people," and I said, "No, neither do I." And I could sense Daisy really looking at me in a "that is not true" kind. I could honestly, I couldn't see her. I had my peripherals,
Yeah.
but I just knew. And then I thought, no, I'm probably imagining it. So we carried on, and after she said to me, "I can't believe you said you don't like arguing." Well, what can you say? Come and work with me, and I'll tell you what I like: arguing with people. It's one of
You
my
do?
best things.
Well, arguing. Yeah.
Well, I don't like arguing. I'm not averse to it.
No.
That's what I'm
Very
saying.
good at it.
What about my new anti-gay regime?
It's working for me, but
Exactly. Yeah, this is the beginning of it. But there's people who they won't let you change. That's what I'm saying.
I
And
once
that's where I'm
claimed
putting
your worst
Daisy.
quality on a radio show publicly. I said it was your complete inability to conceal your true emotions.
Yeah, but see, I think that's a good thing. Anyway, coming up next is Pete Donaldson. See? No, actually, I really like him. That was a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke. And he's next. And thank you so much for listening. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.